Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria and it has been a few weeks since I have posted a video. I first want to say I'm so sorry for the lack of consistency on this channel lately. I have actually been traveling a whole bunch this summer and I just wasn't able to kind of get ahead on my channel and like post videos ahead of time or anything. So you've just been at the mercy of my travels. And so I'm sorry. I am back and we should have weekly videos now from here on out. And this is kind of my plan going forward. I put up a poll last week or earlier this week. I don't know. What day is it? It's still summer and I'm confused on what day it is. But I did put up a poll about vlogs because I haven't really done a vlog in a while and I do want it to be a regular thing on my channel. And so I asked you guys what kind of vlogs you would like to see, and you guys were pretty evenly split between weekend vlogs and weekly reading vlogs. And so I decided to do weekend reading vlogs. And so what I'm going to do is every other weekend I will do a weekend reading vlog and get on a schedule that way. But also every week, every Friday, I'm going to have a proper sit-down video like this. So that is my plan for consistency going forwards. I did decide that I want to have a regular upload schedule day, and that day is going to be Fridays. I know I've kind of gone back and forth with that in the history of this channel, but that is what I've decided. That is what we were doing. So yes, I plan on sticking to that so that you know when to expect videos. So thank you for waiting for a few weeks while I got my life together. Just a quick life update, by the way. If you're not interested in this life update, go ahead and skip to the timestamp down below because I am going to ramble a little bit about just life. So if you're not interested in that and you just want to get into the tag questions, go ahead and follow that timestamp. But I wanted to chat with you and just update you on what I've been up to. It's been a crazy summer and I felt like this was a good place to do a little chat in this mid-year freakout tag because this tag is like a check-in of sorts, and so why not have a little like life check-in as well. The first crazy thing that happened this summer was I left my job and I actually am going to be starting a new job and just signed the paperwork, and so I'm all official. But I left my teaching job that I had before and teaching elementary band about 30 minutes away from me. So it was a little bit of a drive. I left that job and I got a new job teaching right in the town where I live, which is going to be so nice. And I'm teaching orchestra this time, so a little bit different, but some of you guys know that I've been playing violin for the past 3 years, been taking private lessons and stuff. And so even though I'm not like a master string player, I'm going to be changing over to teaching elementary orchestra. So I think I'm ahead of the little kids enough to be able to teach them properly. But I'm leaving my job as a band teacher and now teaching orchestra in public school instead. So I'm really excited and nervous about that. A lot of my time is going to getting ready for that and practicing the instruments that I'm going to be teaching as well, because a couple of them are more new to me than violin and viola. I can do no problem. Cello and bass, I'm in the process of, I'm learning. I'm a student on those as well. So that's a big life update that I'm really excited for. It shouldn't affect this channel as far as like my ability to read and upload. It should be a very similar kind of schedule to what I am used to with my old job. So if anything, it actually might be a better schedule for me. I actually might have more time for this channel and reading. We'll see. I don't want to say that too soon and then be totally wrong. And then I just wanted to let you know where I've been going. So my first trip that I took back in June was to go visit Christy Lewis from the channel Christy Lewis Dostoevsky in Space. And so we spent about a week up there. I live in Southern California. She lives in Northern California. It's a 10-hour drive. And so we went all the way up to visit her and hang out, and it was wonderful. We had such a good time, and she and Kevin are just the best people to hang out with. We had a wonderful time. I wish that we were closer and we could hang out all the time, but it was so nice to get to see them for a little bit. We also took our dogs with us, and that was a whole other adventure. We'd never traveled with our dogs before. They did really well. Like, they did really well in the car and everything. It was a little bit tricky, like, taking them with us to places when we, like, went somewhere out in the town and stuff. So that was an adventure. I don't know if I would take the dogs with me again on a trip, just because they are a little bit of maintenance. But they did a great job, and it was kind of fun having them with us. And then in the first week of July, Julio and I went to Hawaii. We went to the Big Island of Hawaii, and we went to Volcanoes National Park, which is an absolutely incredible place to go. There is the world's biggest active volcano on the Big Island. It's Mount Kilauea, and so you can go around that area and visit and, like, literally see steam coming out of the ground and just beautiful landscapes, and the landscape changes so quickly. The biodomes are amazing there. There are so many different biodomes on a small island, and so it was just an incredible experience. Highly recommend, if you get to go to the Big Island, go to Volcanoes National Park if you are into volcanoes or interested in that, because they are so interesting. And so we learned a lot on that trip. We saw some beautiful things, had some beach time as well, which was nice and relaxing. Ugh, take me back. I want to go back to Hawaii. And then we did one more trip. We are crazy. Why did we travel so much this summer? I don't know. But we did a third trip. We did Orlando. We went to Disney World. We went to Universal Studios, and it was so fun. I had always wanted to go to Walt Disney World because I am not too far away from Disneyland, and I know Disneyland really well, and it's somewhere I've been hundreds of times probably, but I'd never been to Disney World, and I am a Disney fanatic, if you will. And so it was so wonderful to get to do that, kind of like a check off of my bucket list kind of thing. And then also, while we were there, we got to hang out with Leslie from the Nerdy Narrative, who is a annual pass holder for Disney World. So they met us on our first day at Magic Kingdom, and it was so fun. They are a hoot. They were so fun to hang out with, Leslie and her husband Chris, and it was just such a good time to walk around the park and shoot the breeze. And we just had a wonderful time. And now I am back trying to get used to life, trying to get back into the swing of things. So just wanted to update you. That's what's been going on with me. A lot of kind of new life changes and some fun adventures that we had. And I'm ready to just kind of settle back in, devote more time to this channel as well, devote more time to reading. My reading life, for obvious reasons, has been very sporadic and all over the place. So I'm looking forward to just kind of settling back into life. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the mid-year freakout tag. Question number 1 is, what is the best book you've read so far in 2021? There hasn't really been a book to top the feeling that I got when reading Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. I read this very early in the year, back in January, and just nothing has really competed with it. I will say I've had a kind of an off reading year. I haven't been loving a lot of the things that I've been picking up, and so this remains probably one of my favorite reading experiences, and Stormlight Archives just is one of my favorite reading experiences in general. But particularly this book just takes you on a journey that is incredibly unexpected. And so no book has really like thrown me around for a loop as much as this book has. So I think this is still my favorite book that I've read this year. Question number 2 is the best sequel that you read in 2021. And I think I'm gonna go with Perelandra by C.S. Lewis. This was the second book in the Space Trilogy by C.S. Lewis. I actually hosted a read-along of this, and we had a great time. We did some live show discussions on every single book. If you're interested in the one for Perelandra, Definitely spoilers, but I will link that down below if you want to see that. But we did one for all 3 of the books in the series. But this is the second one, and the more time away I've spent from this book, the more I think I like it. I'd be curious if I reread this might stand out as my favorite. Right now, the first book was my favorite, but Perelandra really could be, I think, on a reread. It might come out on top. So I really enjoyed Perelandra. This is about a man named Ransom and his adventures on the planet Venus. I'll just say that. It's obviously the second book in a series, so I don't want to say too much, but it is space travel and adventures on Venus. Question number 3 is a new release you haven't read yet but want to. Oh man, literally any of my book of the month books behind me that you can see in the camera, I have not finished any of the ones that you can see, I don't think. Those are the only new release books that I've been like actively buying because it's a subscription box. But I have started this. I need to get back into it. But I am in the middle of this one. But any of them I'm excited about. I'm really excited. I haven't heard like anyone talk about this, but I'm excited about this one. Half sick of shadows. Couldn't read for a second. I haven't really heard anyone talk about this, but it's a King Arthur feminist retelling, so that sounds really cool. Also really excited for The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. I've read The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna and loved that. So there's a bunch of books on this shelf that I'm really excited for, but haven't gotten around to yet. This whole shelf is like a major source of shame right now. Question number 4 is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. And that's gonna have to be Cytonic by Brandon Sanderson. That's the 3rd book in the Skyward series. His young adult sci-fi series that he's working on right now. I have thoroughly enjoyed Skyward and Starsight. And Cytonic, I think, actually, this is not a trilogy, is it? I think there's going to be 4 books. So this will be the 3rd book in a 4-book trilogy, 4-book quartet. And to me, each one of these books has gotten better and better. I really liked Starsight, so I can't wait to see what happens with Spensa in this next one. Question number 5 is your biggest disappointment of the year. I feel like I've had a few. Like I said, I just have been kind of lukewarm about a lot of things that I've read this year. But I think one that was a disappointment that I really expected to like is actually a middle grade book, and that was Echo by Pam Munoz Ryan. I thought I was gonna love this. There's music involved. There's some really beautiful harmonica music all the way throughout that kind of ties in with the story. And the audiobook is really well done, I have to say. I think if you're going to read this, do the audiobook. I wouldn't usually recommend that first, but this, I think, is an experience on the audiobook. But for me, the story itself is what fell flat. I felt like this was a book with a great audiobook production, and the story wasn't that great. It didn't grab me, and then when it did grab me, it would like change storylines abruptly, so that as soon as I kind of was getting to know my characters and I was getting invested in them, we would leave their storyline and then go to another one. And when that first happened, I thought maybe that like my audiobook app was like glitching or something and it had changed, because it also changes narrators when it does that. But no, it was the same book. And so I was just really thrown off by that. And it was kind of like a cruel trick. As soon as I was getting invested, they would rip me out of it. And I didn't like that. However, I know a lot of people that love this book. So take that for what it's worth. But I'm in the minority with this one. Most people really like this. But not for me, apparently. Question number 6 is biggest surprise of the year. I don't know if anything's like super surprised me. Oh, I know. I've been super surprised at how much I like the Grishaverse. I still need to read the 3rd book. I still need to read Ruin and Rising, but I have been really surprised at how much I like these. And I expected not to like the 2nd book because I had heard the 2nd book was not as good, which like, yeah, I think I might agree, but I actually really liked a lot of it too. So I don't know. Didn't expect to like this as much as I did. Leigh Bardugo is an author I think I need to look into more. I think I need to read more by her. And I definitely need to finish this trilogy. Question number 7 is a favorite new author, either a debut author or new to you. This is definitely not a debut author, but new to me was Riley Sager, and I really enjoyed this one that I read. I definitely want to read some more, which is great because I had kind of been trying a lot of different thriller authors for a while and just didn't really find anything that I liked a whole lot. But I really liked this one, and so I do want to read more by him. I know he has a new one out. I feel like he has new stuff out all the time. But I do think Riley Sager is one that I'm going to keep reading. Okay, so question number 8 is, who is your newest fictional crush? And I don't really do crushes in books, other than maybe with like Jane Austen characters. But I read Pride and Prejudice this year, and like I'm always crushing on Darcy, but also it was kind of a reread, so I don't feel like I can count rereads. So in a book that was new to me, I'm going to go for a little off-the-wall one here. I'm going to go with Alyosha from The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I just feel like we need to protect Alyosha at all costs. He's such a sweet cinnamon roll of a boy. Yeah, I think Alyosha, I would like to hang out with Alyosha. He seems really sweet. That's a really random pick, I know. Question number 9 is newest favorite character. And it's a spoiler. I can't tell you, but it is a character in Project Hail Mary. I will just say that. But I can't really tell you the character because it's kind of a spoiler. But if you read the book, you know, right? I think you know. If you don't know, you can message me on Instagram or Voxer. But I think you know. Do you know? You know. Question number 10 is a book that made you cry. And this I immediately had an answer for. A book that had me actually having rolling down tears from my eyes. It was raining from my eyeballs. Was All the Light We Cannot See. I always say this title wrong. All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. This is so sad. It is World War II historical fiction, so of course it's sad. But this is sad in like a hopeless kind of way, and I loved it. It hurt so good. I liked that it didn't offer a lot of hope. It was more like a picture of the brokenness, and that's what really got to me. I almost like tear up just thinking about it. But this is incredibly sad. Definitely, you got to be in the right frame of mind for this. It's a little bit more literary fiction than it is historical fiction, I will say. So I feel like that kind of turns a lot of people off to this book. But if that is your thing, and you can get down with some more like very literary prose, this is a great book. I gave this 5 stars. And I haven't given a lot of books 5 stars this year, but I loved this. On the opposite end of the spectrum, a book that made you happy. And that easily would go to My Lady Jane by 3 people, Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. This book is just hilarious, and again, the audiobook for this is narrated really well. I feel like the narrator delivered humor really well, which is important, especially with a book that's supposed to be funny. But this is a funny retelling of Jane, Lady Jane Grey, that's who it is in history. But I just was laughing like every few pages or so, and I was just so thrilled to pick it up every time I had time for it. I looked forward to this book because of its levity and lightheartedness. It's a really fun read. I do want to read some of the other books in the series, although I've heard that not all of them are good, but I want to try them. But this first one in the series was awesome. Question number 12 is the most beautiful book that you've bought so far this year or received, and I'm going to give that award to Elliot Brooks's book. I haven't read this yet, unfortunately, but I think it's stunning, and I love how it looks on my shelf because it's white and it stands out. It just pops, and I just think it's one of the most beautiful covers ever. I love it, and so I need to read this. Maybe if someone wants to buddy read it, I don't know. Do you have this sitting on your shelf somewhere and you haven't read it yet? I really want to read this because I also love Elliot Brooks, and I'm a big fan. And I know she's working on her next book in the series, so I am super excited to get to this. But it's definitely my most beautiful book award. as far as books that I bought this year. And then the last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Oh man, guys, okay, back in January or so, I made a list of 21 books to read in 2021. You want to know how I'm doing on that list? I read 3 so far. It's July, and I've only read 3 of those puppies. I read Siege and Storm, My Lady Jane, and Miss Peregrine's. Yeah, Miss Peregrine's. Those are the only ones I read on this list. So other books that I would like to read are Warbreaker. I never read Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I feel like I should have read that by now. Ruin and Rising. Last book in the Grisha trilogy. I also want to read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. And then never continued on with the Robin Hobb the Farseer trilogy. So Royal Assassin's Quest. I've got a bunch of books here, guys. I got a bunch of books. I don't think I'm going to get to all these books. Also, all of my book of the month that I keep shaming myself about, I want to read some of those. I probably won't be able to read all of them this year at this point, but I would like to make a dent at least. What else? I wanted to start Wheel of Time. Haven't done that yet. I also wanted to continue with my reread of Harry Potter. I reread the first 2 books in 2020 and then never continued. I need to pick up Prisoner of Azkaban and then keep going. Wanted to reread Harry Potter. Also wanted to reread Aragon, the Aragon Quartet. That's not happening. I really don't think that's happening this year. I will be lucky if I get to Harry Potter and get to continue that. Ugh, yeah. No, it's not going well. I'm actually 5 books behind my Goodreads goal, which hasn't happened to me in a couple of years. I have actually been ahead of it mostly in the last couple of years, but this year, I think just life has been a little bit busier, and also I've been just not in a huge reading mood as like the world is opening up again, I guess. I've been more like out and about and doing things, and also doing more like practicing and music stuff. So yeah, I think I'm not holed up reading all the time, which I wish I was. I wish I was reading all the time. But yeah, I'm gonna try and like speed up the pace a little bit for the second half of the year, but we'll see. I'm 5 books behind my Goodreads goal. Very sad. Oh, and then one more thing. I almost forgot. Another thing I want to do is finish reading all the Jane Austen major novels, which I'm actually doing okay on that. I am halfway through. Yeah, I'm about halfway through, which is perfect. So I am reading all 6 Jane Austen novels this year. And so far that's going well. I've read Mansfield Park, Pride and Prejudice, and I'm currently on Sense and Sensibility. And then I just have 3 more to fit into the end of the year. So that I feel like will be fine. But all the other goals, they're questionable. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to let me know down in the comments, what books are you looking forward to reading going forward? I know that more are gonna pop up and more fun read-alongs and things. And so I'm just, just along for the ride at this point. For the rest of the year, I'm kind of like, whatever happens, happens. It hasn't exactly gone to plan, but that's okay. But let me know what you're looking forward to reading in the second half of the year. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Keep reading great books. And until next time, bye-bye.